Now we're just going to have a short mission slot. We have Hugh in the congregation, and he's going to come up and tell us a little bit about what's happening with Mission International, that mission organisation. Over to you, Hugh.
Well, good morning, everybody. Just a very brief talk on what's happening with Mission International at the moment. As you can see there, we have mission work going on in 17 different countries around the world at the moment. And the most recent there is South Sudan and Zambia, who have joined in very recently. And so we're delighted to see God at work in these places. What we do is we get involved in 3 different things with Mission International: evangelism, where we try to encourage churches to reach out to their local communities, and we try to aid them and help them in that. Discipleship and leaders training, and we're involved in that with wherever we are invited to be, and that's quite a major task really for us to be involved in. And then projects for the poor. The next slide tells us some of the stuff that we're involved in. Here are some of the work going on in Bangladesh at the moment. And as you can see, these people are trekking way into the bush and baptizing people and planting churches. Next time we'll have a baptism here, I think we'll try and bring in some of that muddy water for baptisms. But people standing around the side making sure there's no snakes in the water as well. Okay, next one shows us a little bit about the outreach going on. This was a rescue camp after the storms that took place in the southern part of Malawi, and there 10,000 people had to sit together and sit out the storms because their houses, their homes, everything that they had was swept away. And the pastor was one of these. One of our partners there was one of these in the group, and he stood before the people and began to preach. And as a result, almost 500 people came to faith during the few weeks that he was there. And so it was a real blessing, and he's now planting churches in that area for these people to be discipled and so on. Next one shows some of the projects that we get involved in. Water projects. These are, this one you see there is in Ghana, in northern Ghana, right up next to the border with Burkina Faso. And they are delighted with that. They call it peace water because it's brought villages together who were fighting over water. Has brought them together, and they're now at peace over that. Projects like supplying technology for schools, and if you've got an old laptop or mobile phone or something like that you can donate to the project, then we'd be delighted to hear from you. And building projects, that's a church being built in Myanmar at the moment, and so we're trying hard to resource those who are in need and seeking to extend the gospel and the kingdom of God. Next one. And church leaders training that we mentioned before. And one of the big projects that we're trying to deal with at the moment is supplying provisions for pastors and those being trained, Sunday school teachers and women's leaders and so on. And the pastor there, Pastor Chol, has asked us if we can find study Bibles and laptops for those pastors who are very remote and rural and yet are trying to disciple their people and train their people. Next one is the situation currently in Malawi, and that's the project that we're finding the most difficult to handle at the moment. Mission International is not really an aid organisation, but because of the situation that we find our brothers and sisters in, we've had to try to be an aid organisation to them. And we know that we can't help everybody everywhere, but our philosophy is that, well, if we can't help everybody everywhere, then surely we can try and help somebody somewhere. And so we're shipping funds out to them that they can buy food locally to feed people who have been starving for weeks. Now, in Africa, it's kind of traditional to go to bed with a full stomach. You eat a big meal at night and then go to sleep. Well, some of these people have been 2 or 3 weeks without having that meal at night. And they've been eating fruit off the trees, but the fruit season is now over, and so they're really struggling. And the harvest, because of the storms, the harvests haven't gone back into cycle again yet. And so we're trying hard to help them there. And again, if you can contribute to that, then we'd be very happy to hear from you. Next one is talking about teams. We send out mission teams, people to be involved. We've got a team going out to Uganda in July, and then there are others of us who have gone on to Rwanda and Burundi as well. And we also do mission medics, which is taking dental and medical personnel out to help. And that has been, particularly in Burundi, where there are so few doctors and medics to cope with the rural areas. In the cities there are enough, but in the rural areas there are virtually no medics and dentists to help. And so we're trying to take people out to help with that. So if you're interested in being involved, please let me know, and we can try and sign you up for one of these. And I think that's probably the last slide. Thank you very much indeed. Okay.